All right, this is video 31, and I have Brandon, and he is a Bassmaster. That's the tour he fishes on. He has an incredible career and something I think a lot of people probably envy, especially North Idaho people, all of us fishermen and women. Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing, and kind of, you got a lot going on.
I do have a lot going on. Well, I grew up here in North Idaho in kind of the Coeur d'Alene, Hayden area. Um, and I feel like a lot of the success that I've had is because I grew up here. And the funny thing is that this part of the country is really known for its trout fisheries, but not known for its bass fishing. And when I got introduced to it at 8 years old, it was by a family friend. And my family was always very outdoorsy. My mom took me all the time into the woods, backpacking into mountain lakes and things like that around North Idaho. But I didn't know that there was such a thing as tournament bass fishing, or that you could make a living fishing, until I was 8 years old. And once I found that out, it was like my entire life just changed gears. And I was so focused on doing that. Like even in school, like elementary school, junior high, high school, teachers would ask, what do you want to do when you grow up? And most kids like, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a doctor, whatever. I wanted to be a fisherman. And no, most people didn't know what that was. Like, to go fish professionally on a Bassmaster Elite Series, that was so foreign to most people in Idaho. And I've been able to do that for a living the last 10 years. I still call Idaho home. And so I've been able to come back and enjoy a lot of that. Generally it's in the fall, but with things that are a little bit different right now, I've got to enjoy it a little bit more this spring.
Yeah, so right into that, like, how has the quarantine and the stay-at-home order affected your line of work?
It's definitely made some changes. Normally our off season is, I would say, kind of October, November, December, and then January, we really start rolling into things again. And by February and March, we are full swing into the tournament season, show season, and then that rolls all the way through September. With everything that's been going on, it's really just put a halt to everything, because most of our events are events with lots of people. We have different people in the boats that we call marshals, that are kind of like our judges in the boats. And so there's a lot of things that, under quarantine or stay at home laws and different things, that makes it tricky, where they've just had to postpone a lot of our events. And so I was actually on the way to one of our events when everything kind of started to happen, and I was halfway across the country, had left my boat and truck back in Tennessee, and then it got canceled, or that event got postponed and rescheduled. And so we drove all the way to Tennessee, grabbed the boat and truck, and drove back again. And so we've already done about 15,000 miles, I think, this year, and fished one tournament.
Wow.
Normally we'd be probably 4 or 5 events in at this point, and we've only had one event. And so it's changed a lot of things. It's changed the sponsorship environment and those businesses. And the fishing industry, thankfully, in a lot of places in the country, we've still been able to fish. Here in Idaho, we're thankful that we still get to do that. Washington is not as lucky. They've shut fishing down over there. And so as long as fishing's still good, a lot of the fishing companies will still survive and do well. But it's, we're seeing a lot of the same financial implications that most industries are.
Oh yeah, I bet. So when is your next tournament, or do you guys have like a next one coming up when it's official or anything?
We do. At this point, it just continues to change, right? Because as different state laws or regulations change throughout this, then that changes our events as well, because we don't just fish in one place or on one body of water. They're in different states and different counties, and they all have different rules right now. And so we have to follow and abide by those. And right now, our next scheduled event is the middle of May, so third week in May.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that's going to happen or not, But they've been working, Bassmaster, the organization that hosts our tournaments, has been working really hard at rescheduling everything and making sure that we can still have a full season for the fans and for the sponsors and everybody involved.
That's cool. That's really cool. So,
Yeah.
what's your favorite thing about your job and your least favorite thing about your job?
They're almost the same thing.
Oh,
Actually, a lot of
I
it
have never heard
is
this
the the travel.
one.
I love the travel because I get to see a lot of different places. I've
Yeah.
been in all 50 states in the US. I've been able to travel to China and Japan, uh, obviously Canada and Mexico, and
Yeah.
a bunch of places because of my job and line of work. And we were planning on going to Australia and doing a whole fishing tour over in Australia this fall. I don't know if that's going to happen anymore, but that's one thing that I've really enjoyed because I've got to meet a lot of really cool, neat people across the entire country and across the world, and
Yeah.
made really good friends around the entire world. And the downside of the travel is that I don't get to see my friends and family at home. I
Mm.
don't get to enjoy all of the great things that Idaho or even just the entire Pacific Northwest gets to offer. Normally, I don't get to enjoy the spring weather that we're getting now, where it finally changes from winter and we can see the bright side and
Yeah.
look, for the last 10 years, the biggest portion of the year that I've stayed in Idaho has been straight during the winter. And for a guy that likes to be outside, that's fine. I still go outside in the snow. I'm used to that, but it's really nice to enjoy the best part of Idaho, being able to fish and hike and do those things in the spring and in the summer. And so the travel it's a blessing
That
and it's
makes
a
sense.
curse at the same time.
That makes complete sense. Yeah.
So I'm yeah, very glad that we've been able to be home,
I
change
know
things up.
you guys are gonna
After
enjoy.
10 years, it's nice.
Yeah, you guys get to spend a little time at home, and I do enjoy following your guys' adventures. It's pretty fun, especially when you guys have like hiccups or
Yeah.
something happen. Like I look forward to it. So, what is, I guess, your favorite fish you've caught, or like biggest fish? What's your like most memorable fish?
Oh man. I caught some a couple years ago. I did a trip to Japan, and there's one lake called Lake Biwa over there, and it's really known for big fish. And it's probably the most common lake to what we have in the U.S. over in Japan. And I was able to go there and fish, and took a product over there, a lure that I had been working on designing for the last 3 years, and was able to catch fish on it over there.
Oh,
And that was really memorable experience because it took us a couple days. The fishing was super tough. We were there at a tough time of year. And when it happened, everybody was so excited. Uh,
that's
so from a bass standpoint, that was probably one of my most memorable ones. I've been able to do some really cool trips, like go to China and fish in like some of the canals they have, and they're actually like farming ponds, but you fish in the farming ponds. It's a really weird situation, but it's neat to see those different things. And I've been able to fish for a lot of other species like bluefin tuna up in Prince Edward Island and catch 800 to 1,000 pound tuna and things like that. Like those are really neat experiences, and it changes. It's never the same. And so right when I think that I have like the fish catch that's my favorite fish catch, it completely changes, and I have a
that's so
memorable experience that becomes my favorite.
that's awesome. That's really cool. So, what is one piece of advice you could give your younger self
Mm, man, that's a tough question. My younger self,
when you're hanging out with like
I
your
would,
brother and all those things?
yeah, when I was running around with
Yeah,
your
we can't
brother.
talk about the
Yeah,
stories from the North Idaho
yeah,
boys.
yeah, yeah. It was pretty fun running around with your brother and our friends. back when we were younger. Got some good scars to prove some
Hmm.
of those stories, but um, I would I would probably tell my younger self to enjoy the moment, and enjoy the process. Really live in those moments, because when I was younger, I had such an end goal, right? Or like this place that I wanted to be. And that's where I'm at right now. I wanted to get to where I'm at right now. But I would tell myself to really like dig in deep into those moments and live in those moments growing up.
That's awesome. All right, last question. So, well, I guess second to last question. What is the first thing you're going to do? Stay at home is lifted, quarantine's over. What's the first thing you're going to do? I mean, besides head somewhere else to fish, what is the first thing you'll do?
Oh gosh, that probably would be the next thing I would do.
Mhm,
I
I
would
figured,
probably
right?
go fishing somewhere. The only difference is that I might do it with a few more of my buddies, or I will probably fish a tournament. Would be the next thing I do, whether it's a tournament here locally or whether it's out on the road somewhere. I haven't been able to fish a tournament in a long time, for a couple months now. I'm a competitive person.
So
It
you're
just flows in my blood, and I'm gonna fish a tournament somewhere.
Oh, I've actually seen the beginning of one of those tournaments. They are actually pretty awesome when you just see those flying out because you get picked on where you gotta go. I'm like, this is
Yep.
intense. All right, last
Yep.
question.
Exactly.
How can the community or how can people in North Ida or anywhere, how can we support you right now?
Yeah. The easiest thing to do is just follow the adventures on social media or across my website. So my website is just bmpfishing.com. So pretty easy. And all my social channels are there, videos. So we film all of our adventures, put them on YouTube, and then we're on all of the social channels, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, you name it. I'm
You're on
on pretty
TikTok?
much all
Oh,
that.
I didn't know
I
that one.
am on TikTok. Yeah. I haven't got into all the TikTok
Oh,
dances and
you should be
all
because
that
you
yet,
have
but
extra
we are there.
time.
I know. I know. I just haven't broke down and
Yeah.
brought myself to that level yet.
Yeah, you need to follow
So,
definitely follow his videos and stuff. His videos are awesome, and your film guy and the guy you guys do some really cool stuff. It's really
yeah.
fun.
And he's a North Idaho guy too,
I
Kyle
love
Vandiver. So he's a buddy I went to high school with. So we have a lot of fun and create a lot of pretty fun adventures together.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brandon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.